Students, earlier we have learnt about electrical resistance and equation for electrical resistance R is equal to delta V divided by delta I, or you can write resistance R is equal to rho L by A, where rho is electrical resistivity, L is length of the conductor, and A is area of cross section. So let us see few factors which are affecting the resistance. The first factor which affects the resistance is length of the conductor. How does length of the conductor change resistance of the conductor, and what is the reason for that? We'll just discuss within 1 minute. Now let me take a conductor. You have a conductor here, and this within this conductor, as I told you, every conductor is having free electrons to move. So there will be ions and as well as electrons within this. So there are few ions which are present in this conductor. These are the ions. And there are few electrons. Electrons will be drifted in the direction of, electrons will be drifted in opposite direction to that of electric field when you are connecting it to external battery. Now you are taking a battery and connecting it from positive to negative terminal, and along with one tap key. This is voltage V and it is length of the conductor L. What actually happens is, when you are connecting a battery to a conductor, as we already know that all these electrons will be drifted in specific direction. Of course, it is opposite to that of electric field. So when these electrons are moving, say this is of length L1, like you have you can have two conductors, like this is one conductor of length L1 and this is another conductor of length L2. Clearly L2 is greater than L1. Now when an electron is forced to drift from one end of the conductor to another end of the conductor, as we know, when it is traveling, definitely here there are many ions, and here the number of ions in case of length L2 is greater than that of length L1. Okay, so number of ions in L2 is greater than number of ions in length L1. Therefore, when an electron is drifting from one end to other end of the conductor, like when it is about to travel, when it is being drifted, in length L2, there will be greater number of collisions. Why it is greater collisions? Because length L1 is greater, the number of ions through which this electron should be drifted, that will be increased. As a result, in length L2, as the number of ions has been increased, what would happen to the collisions? Number of collisions also increases. The interaction between ions and the electrons will be greater in number, and that will be more in case of length L2 than that of L1. So as a result, what would happen? Opposition is greater in case of length L2 rather than L1. Because in case of length L2, there are more number of ions. It need to cross through more number of ions when it is drifting from one end to the other. As a result, as the number of ions increases, the number of collisions also increases. As number of collisions increases, opposing property of the current flow will be increased. Because of that, in length L2, as the opposition for free flow of electrons is greater than that of length L1, clearly we can tell that resistance of the conductor R2 is greater than resistance of the conductor R1, and conductivity is denoted with G. G is conductance is reciprocal to resistance. and resistivity and conductivity. Conductivity is reciprocal to resistivity. These are the two things you need to remember. Resistance changes with length, and as length of the conductor increases, resistance increases. Therefore, R2 in this case is greater than R1, and obviously G2 will be less than G1. What is G1 and G2 here? G1 and G2 is conductance, R1 and R2 is resistance. Why R2 is greater than R1? Because length of the second conductor is greater than length of the first conductor. If length of the second conductor is greater than length of the first conductor, what would happen? There will be more number of ions in length L2, resulting in more number of collisions when electron is being drifted. As a result, more are the number of collisions, more is the opposition for free flow of charge, more will be the loss of energy, but that is nothing but resistance. So therefore, resistance is directly proportional to length of the conductor, because in length L2 there will be more number of collisions than that of length L1. So clearly I can write resistance is directly proportional to length of conductor. Resistance is directly proportional to length of the conductor. So I will simply write, if you are taking two conductors, I can simply take it as resistance of the first conductor is directly proportional to resistance length of the first conductor. So R1 proportional to L1, R2 proportional to L2. If I remove this proportionality, I should include a constant. That constant will be resistivity. R1 by R2 is equal to L1 divided by L2. And obviously, as length of the conductor changes, there will be change in the resistance. If length increases, then obviously resistance also increases. If length decreases, resistance also decreases. That is the factor which is affecting resistance of the conductor. This is first factor, which is length of the conductor. Now coming to second one, of course we have derived this equation R proportional to L in the previous video lecture itself. Just I am giving you the explanation how length changes resistance of the conductor. The main reason for increase in the resistance is the number of collisions. As more number of collisions are taking place in length L2, because there are more number of ions, as a result resistance increases. If there is percentage change in the length L, then obviously there will be percentage change in resistance R. So you can simply write delta R by R is equal to delta L by L. It is R2 minus R1 divided by R1 is equal to L2 minus L1 divided by L1. Suppose if in the question it is been mentioned like there is some percentage change in the length of the conductor. Length of the conductor is increased by 2%. What is the percentage change in the resistance? In such cases, you can use this relation directly and you can find out the percentage increase or percentage decrease in the resistance corresponding to length of the conductor. Okay, this is factor number 1. So the second factor upon which resistance depends is area of cross section of the conductor. Now let us take two different conductors of same length but in a different area of cross section. Let me take, this is one conductor of length L, but area of cross section is A1. I am taking another conductor of same length, but area of cross section here is A2. This is length L2, and this is this is also length L. I am taking length of the conductor is constant, area of cross section is varied with respect to time. A1 and A2 are the two areas of cross section. Now whenever we are dealing with conductor, as it is already been learnt, whenever there is conductor, in that conductor there will be free electrons residing on total surface area. So if you are considering this is area of cross section, there will be electrons residing on the surface area of the conductor. Check it up, like these are the free electrons throughout the surface of the conductor. Of course, internally there will be solid ions and they are stick to their lattice. But whereas in case of electrons, they are forming electron cloud on the surface. Therefore, if area of cross section is less in the first case, what would happen? The number of electrons, free electrons in the first conductor and number of free electrons in the second conductor, if you compare clearly, you can check it in the figure. Number of free electrons increases with surface area of conductor. Increases with surface area of the conductor. What is happening here? In this case, number of electrons in area of cross section A2 is greater than number of electrons in area of cross section A1. Clearly, you can check it in the figure also. Here there are more number of electrons which are denoted with red ink in area A2, and whereas in A1 there are less number of electrons denoted with red ink in this conductor. So length is the same for both the conductors, but the free electrons in area of cross section A2 is greater. As number of free electrons increases, what should happen to conductance? Conductance should increase, because more are the number of electrons, more will be the charge flow. More will be the charge flow, greater will be the current. Greater will be the current, less will be the resistance. Therefore, clearly you can write resistance is inversely proportional to area of cross section when L is equal to constant. When length of the two conductors is constant and nature of the substance is same, in such case resistance is inversely proportional to area of cross section. So here we can take R2, here we can take R1. I can write R1 proportional to 1 by A1, R2 proportional to 1 by A2. If I take ratio of these two, you will be getting R1 is R1 divided by R2 is equal to A2 divided by A1. When length of the conductors, when both the lengths are being constant, in such case R1 by R2 is equal to A2 by A1. Percentage change in the resistance depends upon area of cross section. That also you can use percentage change formula and you can find out the change in resistance if percentage change in the area is being given to you, right? So in the first case, R1 by R2 is equal to L1 divided by L2, and in the second case, R1 by R2 is equal to A2 by A1. It is only that the effect of electrons collisions taking place in first case, that is length of the conductor, whereas in the second case the number of free electrons is being increased, as conductivity greatly depends upon number of free electrons. So therefore in area of cross section it is the factor number of conduction electrons increases. So as number of conduction electrons increases, current increases. If current is increases, you can write R is equal to delta V divided by delta I. Now as current is increased, what should happen to resistance? Obviously it should decrease. So that is why R is inversely proportional to area of cross section of the conductor. That is factor number 2. The third factor which changes the resistance is both length and as well as area of cross section is changing. In the first case only length is changing, area is constant, and in the second case we have took only area is changing, length of the conductor remain constant. Now the third one, it is length changes and as well as area of cross section also changes. So in such cases what we will do, like for example, you have a conductor. This conductor has length L and area of cross section L1 and A1. This is one conductor. Now what you are doing, you are taking the same conductor and you are just extending it. So this is initially. Now this conductor is extended. this conductor is extended or elongated. Elongated mean you can understand, like same material, same conductor you are taking and you are elongating it. When you elongate this conductor, what would happen to the conductor? Area of cross section decreases and length of conductor, area of cross section decreases and length of conductor increases, right? Area of cross section of the conductor is decreasing, obviously you can tell that, and length of the conductor would increase. So what will be the new condition? This will be the thing. Area of cross section here is A2, length of the conductor is L2. Clearly L2 greater than L1, A2 is less than A1. Okay, so both length and as well as area of cross section is changing here, but what is the factor which is remained constant? In this case, you are taking the same material and you can heat that material such that it melt, and after that you are what you are doing, you are elongating it up to a maximum length L2, and as a result its area of cross section would be decreased. But what is the factor which is remained constant here? Volume of conductor remains same. Volume of the conductor is not varied in this case. Even though length is changing, area of cross section is changing, volume of the conductor does not change. So what we will do, we will, in order to handle with this, what we will do, we will consider that volume of the conductor is constant. If volume of the conductor is constant, then you can write down the basic equation R is equal to rho L divided by A. This is the actual relation which we have derived. Resistance is equal to rho L by A, where L is length of the conductor and area A is area of cross section. I'll simply multiply this with L in both numerator and as well as denominator, so that you can write rho L square divided by volume, because area into cross section V is equal to A into L. Area into length gives you volume. Now R is equal to rho divided by volume of the conductor into L square. Rho by volume is equal to constant in this case. Check it up. Rho is conductivity, resistivity, which is depending only on the nature of material, that is constant for a given conductor. Volume of the conductor in both the cases it is same. In the first length L1 and length L2, volume of the conductor is the same. So therefore, what is now proportionality constant? Rho by volume is the proportionality constant. So simply I can write R is directly proportional to L square, right? Therefore, resistance of conductor is proportional to square of length. Square of length of conductor. So if the same material you are squeezing or you are elongating, in such case, you should not use R proportional to L. You should use R proportional to L square. Then in this case, how you will handle this? How you will solve this problem? So you are supposed to find out the second resistance. Now what you will do? As volume of the conductor in both the cases will be remained same, I'll be simply writing it as resistance in the first case is directly proportional to square of the length of the first conductor. Similarly, R2 is proportional to L2 square. Forget about the area in both the cases, because area we have already included in the volume. Therefore, we are considering overall volume as constant. Therefore, R1 by R2 can be simply written as L1 square divided by L2 square. Clear? That is how resistance changes with square of length of the conductor if volume of the conductor remains constant. And this is very, very important. Don't get confused with R1 by R2 is equal to L1 by L2. R1 by R2 is equal to L1 by L2 if and only if A is equal to constant. So if area of the conductor is constant, then R1 by R2 is L1 by L2. Whereas R1 by R2 is equal to L1 square by L2 square. This is L2 square if and only if volume is constant. So if volume is constant, you will use that formula. And how can you know that volume is constant? If both area of cross section and length changes. That means you are taking the same material, but the effect is you may either squeeze it or you may either elongate it. Same conductor you will take, but you may squeeze it or you may elongate it or you may heat it and you can make it a circle. You can make it any other shape of the material. In such cases, volume of the conductor will be remained same. Then you will be finding out the length in both the cases and directly write down R1 proportional to L square, or R1 by R2 is equal to L1 square by L2 square. Sometimes you may have two different conductors of two different lengths and as well as areas of cross section. You will take conductor of length L1 and area of cross section A1. You are taking another conductor of length L2 and area of cross section A2. But volume of those two conductors are not constant. In such case, basic relations you can use R1 by R2 is equal to L1 by L2 and R1 by R2 is equal to A2 by A2. You should solve that individually and you should find out the final resistance of the conductor. So if volume is not maintained constant, then you will use one and two simultaneously. If volume is constant, we will use case 3. So students, let us take few examples. Suppose you are taking a conductor. It is having length L1 and its area of cross section is A. You are taking another conductor whose length is L2 but area of cross section is A. Resistivity of this and resistivity of this is same. In such case, how do you write? Only length is variable. What do you write? R1 by R2 is equal to L1 divided by L2. Okay. Next example. Suppose you are taking conductor of area of cross section A1, length is L1, length is L. You are taking another conductor, length of the conductor is same but area of cross section is A2. Row here and row here is same. In such case, R1 by R2 is equal to A2 by A1. And you are taking another example where you have a conductor of area of cross section A1 and length L1 which has resistivity rho. And you have another conductor of same resistivity but length is L2, area of cross section is A2. What is happened in this case? Area is being changed and as well as length is being changed. In such case, what do you write? R is equal to rho L divided by A. So resistance of the first conductor R1 is equal to rho L1 by A1. R2 is equal to rho L2 by A2. Take ratio of these two. Rho and rho gets cancelled. So how do you write this final expression? R1 by R2 is equal to L1 by A1 into A2 divided by L2. If both length and as well as area of cross section is changed, we are taking two different materials. Here volume is V1 and here volume is V2. Volume is not maintained constant. If volume is not constant. See, in this example, we are not taking same conductor. We are taking two different conductors of different areas and as well as different lengths. Therefore, volume of the first conductor and volume of the second conductor are not same. Then in such case, you will be taking R1 by R2 is equal to L1 by L2 into A2 by A1. Right? That's example number 3. Now let us take one more example which we have discussed. We are taking a conductor. This conductor has length L1 and its area of cross section is A1 and its volume is V. Its resistivity is rho. So same material, what you are doing, you are increasing its length to length L2 and its area of cross section has been increased to A2 or decreased to A2. Resistivity of the conductor is same, volume is maintained constant. So if this is the condition, same conductor you are taking and you are squeezing it or you are elongating it, in such case R1 by R2 is equal to L1 square divided by L2 square. This is what you will be using. Okay, this is one example. Next example, say for example, you are taking a conductor of length L. Okay, and its volume is V. It has some volume. Its area of cross section is A. Right. What I am doing is you are taking this conductor and you are heating this, and this conductor after heating it become liquid, and you are recasting in the sense you are again making it a conductor of different shape. So you are taking the conductor and you are recasting it into a circle. Okay, so if you are recasting, this is what we call it as recast. Recasting in the sense same material, you are changing its shape or you are changing its length or area of cross section, whatever it is. So after recasting, what would happen? Its resistance become R. This is R1. Its resistance become R2 definitely. And radius is R. Now you want to find out what is the final resistance of the conductor. So whenever you want to find out final resistance of the conductor, in both the cases, volume of the conductor is same. Then in such case, what do you write? R1 by R2 is equal to L1 square divided by L2 square. But how do you write L2? L2 is equal to 2 pi R. Because after, like when you are making it into a circle, what is its circumference? Circumference is equal to 2 pi R. Okay. But you do not know what is R here. R you should write it in terms of L. So you need to write it in terms of L, and then you need to substitute that here. So I can write R1 by R2 is equal to L1 square divided by L2 square. It is 2 pi R whole square. Let me take this as equation 1. Now how to find out relation between volume of the conductor, how to find out relation between length of the conductor and radius? I'll take V1 is equal to V2. Volume of the first conductor and volume of the second conductor is same. Volume of the first conductor, I can write it as volume is equal to area of cross section into length, that is A1 L1 is equal to A2 L2, because volume is equal to area of cross section into length here. So area of cross section of the first conductor is pi, or I'll write it as A1 into length L1 is equal to A2 into length, it is 2 pi R. R is radius of the conductor. So I'll write R is equal to A1 L1 divided by 2 pi A2, where A2 is area of cross section of the second conductor. So A1 is area of cross section of first conductor, that will be given to you. Area A2 is the second conductor area of cross section, that will be given to you. So R is equal to A1 by 2 pi A2 into L1, where L1 is length of the first conductor. That is relation between R and L. So wherever R is there, you can substitute there A1 L1 by 2 pi A2. Take this R and substitute here. Because areas of cross sections in the problem, definitely they will give you some hint. So area may be doubled, or area may be halved, or area may be increased to 3 times, or squeezed by 2 times. Like that they will be giving you when it is recasted. That you can substitute here and you can find out R in terms of L. Say for example, area of cross section after squeezing has been halved. In such case, what you will do? A2 will be equal to half of A1. Then how do you write R? R will be A1 L1 by 2 pi. A2 can be written as A1 by 2. This gets cancelled. This 2 gets cancelled. It is L1 divided by pi. Take this R, substitute in equation 1, so that you can be finding out R1 by R2. That means you can find out resistance before recasting and as well as after recasting. The ratios can be calculated easily. Fourth factor which affects the nature of resistance is nature of the substance. Nature of the substance. So that means you are taking a conductor of some material. Say this is a conductor of length L and area of cross section, and let me take this as copper. And you are taking another conductor of same length and area of cross section, but this is aluminum. Now in this case, area of cross section of both the conductors are same, length of the conductors are also same, but nature of the materials are different. So first material have resistivity ρ1, second material have resistivity ρ2. Then what do you write? Resistance for the first conductor R1 is equal to ρ1 L divided by A. For the second one it is ρ2 L divided by A. How do you write this? R1 by R2 is equal to ρ1 divided by ρ2. So resistance depends upon resistivity of the material. If length of the conductor and area of cross sections are same, but nature of the material is changed. So that is another factor upon which resistance also depends on. So resistivity will be different for aluminum and copper. Resistivity changes for both the materials. As a result, resistance also do change. Okay, that is factor number 4. Next, factor number 5. Temperature of the conductor. Temperature of the conductor. In case of temperature, how does conductor affects temperature? We shall see. Now let me take a conductor of length L and area of cross section A. Obviously, there will be ions and there will be electrons. Electrons will be drifted in specific direction in case of the conducting material. Okay. Now I am considering that this is at temperature T1. Temperature T1, let me take it as like, I'll consider this as like 300 Kelvin. 300 Kelvin is room temperature. At room temperature, these electrons will have some kinetic energy. So therefore, kinetic energy of the electrons K is directly proportional to temperature, right? Kinetic energy of electrons directly proportional to temperature. Very, very important thing. So if temperature is increased, what would happen? Kinetic energy of the electrons will increase. As temperature increases, kinetic energy of electrons increases. If kinetic energy of the electrons increases, then what would happen? A number of collisions increases. As number of collisions increases, what would happen? As number of collisions increases, resistance of the conductor increases. Therefore, clearly you can write as temperature increases, resistance of conductor increases. Okay, and you should not write it directly proportional. Resistance of the conductor will be obviously increased. That depends upon resistivity. So how resistivity changes with temperature, based on that factor you will be writing resistance. Okay, Usually in class 11th you will be writing L2 is equal to L naught into 1 plus alpha into delta theta. This is thermal expansion. So in thermal expansion you can write, you will be writing this generally. Final length of the conductor is equal to initial length into 1 plus alpha delta theta, where alpha is coefficient of linear expansion. In the same way, here also you can write resistance as R2 is equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into delta theta. This is how resistance varies with respect to temperature. Delta theta is equal to change in temperature. This is equal to change in temperature. Alpha is equal to thermal coefficient. It is thermal coefficient of electrical conductivity. Alpha in linear expansion and alpha in resistivity both are not same. They are different. They will be giving you alpha value. Like how it depends upon temperature, that will be given to you. So alpha you can find out. Like if all the values are given, you can find out alpha. If alpha is given, you can find out the resistance, how does it vary. So this is the final expression you need to use when temperature of the conductor is variable with respect to time. R2 is equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha delta theta. R naught is initial resistance at a temperature T1. See, we have derived equation, like we have learned R at a temperature T is equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into delta theta, where delta theta is change in the temperature. You can write resistance at a temperature T is equal to R naught plus R naught alpha into delta theta. It is RT minus R naught divided by R naught is equal to alpha into delta theta. What is RT minus R naught divided by R naught? Where RT is equal to resistance at temperature T Kelvin. R naught is equal to resistance at temperature 0 Kelvin. Okay. So what is RT minus R naught divided by R naught? This is percentage change in resistance with temperature. So simply you can multiply this with 100. So that gives you percentage change in the resistance of the conductor. Therefore, delta R by R is equal to alpha into delta theta. So if you multiply, like when you are supposed to find out percentage change in the resistance with respect to temperature, you can use this relation and you can find out percentage change in the resistance of the conductor. This is similar to change in the length or change in the length problems which we solve in class 11th in thermal expansion.